If you hood educated, I'm glad you made it. Allow me to unfold my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from a hood brother's point of view to all of you here, there, and everywhere. Now check me out.
And new developments in the murder-for-hire plot that happened right in our area. Today, rapper Lil Durk pleaded not guilty of the case. Lil Durk, whose real name is Durk Banks, was arrested in Miami last month and transferred to Los Angeles. According to a grand jury indictment, he conspired with others to murder a rival rapper near the Beverly Center 2 years ago. Banks is accused of ordering the murder, but a botched shooting instead killed the rival's relative. 5 other defendants were also charged.
This right here is Lil Durk's attorneys filing a motion telling the judge that they don't believe that Lil Durk paid a bounty to have Lil Pop killed or Quando Rondo killed. It goes, if that doubt eliminating discovery existed, the government would certainly have cited to it in its opposition. Yet it does not. Indeed, nowhere does the discovery set forth anything resembling a fixed or coherent theory of the time, place, and circumstances of the bounty allegation, or at the direction of allegation. On the contrary, the discovery reveals government witnesses who are consistently changing their stories. Protective Witness 1, for an example, has asserted that there was no bounty at all, that he did not agree to murder TB for monetary gain, and that he did so under duress. But as one might expect in a murder-for-hire prosecution predicated on the existence of a bounty, he rises to meet the occasion. In one government proffer session, Protective Witness 1 recounts how Mr. Wilson allegedly stayed behind in Los Angeles after the other participants flew out in order to collect the bounty, money for distribution. Protective Witness 1's story is, however, flatly contradicted by the objective evidence. The government's realization that Protective Witness 1 lied here is likely why, between the first superseding indictment and the second superseding indictment, it deleted language alleging that Mr. Wilson paid out the bounty after SR's homicide. When the government witnesses are constantly changing their stories about crucial facts as the discovery catalogs here, Mr. Banks' defense must take aim at a moving target that is, and then it goes blank. Cold-blooded demonstration. I mean, this is good news, right? But at the same time, this is bad news too. And let me explain to y'all why I say that, right? Now, for Durk, here it is. His attorneys can prove that the protected witness is contradicting himself. In one proffer agreement, when he was sitting down with the investigators or prosecutors or whatever, he was saying that, hey, look, it wasn't a bounty. It wasn't somebody trying to pay me to go kill anything. I just went to go kill some under duress. Meaning that he was forced to go commit the murder, right? But then later on down the line, he changed it up. And he say, no, yeah, it was a bounty. And Mr. Wilson, one of his co-conspirators, Mr. Wilson, yeah, when we left California to go back to Chicago, he stayed back to get the money. You see? And once he got the money, he was the one that's possibly going to, hand out all the money. Now look, let me say this right here. For one thing, right, the reason why I say this is bad business is because this right here is telling us that one of the co-conspirators, one of the persons that is on the case with Lil Durk is testifying against him. And here's why I say that. How did this person know that after the murder happened of Lil Pop, when they was on their way leaving California to go back to Chicago, that he knew that Dee Dee stayed back to get the money? You see what I'm saying? So that tells us that, hey, hold on, this is somebody in the inner workings. This is somebody that's in the circle, right? Because how does he know this type of information? Now, this type of stuff can easily be proven because if Didi took a plane later than everybody else, then what he is saying is corroborating evidence of the murder for hire and the payout. You see what I'm saying? Now, look, when we hear murder for hire, I'm talking about just, people and, that are not accustomed to law jargon and the way words mean different things in the black law dictionary and stuff like that. When we hear murder for hire, the first thing pop in our mind is this right here. Hey, look, I'm going to pay you $10,000, man. You go kill old boy over there because I don't like him no more. You see what I'm saying? We look at it like that. We look at it like, hey, look, somebody's giving you some cash money to go kill somebody. And one thing we got to understand is this right here, y'all. In federal law, it don't just mean that. You see? It don't just mean that somebody is going to, give you a bag of money and then you go kill somebody. No, there's more to it. See, for every crime in the United States of America, there are elements of the crime. And whatever those elements are, the prosecution got to prove those elements. One of the elements, two of the elements, of all of the elements. Those elements got to be met in order for them to even charge you with a crime. So in this case right here, we got Lil Durk. They charging Durk with conspiracy to commit murder for hire. So now a lot of people say, yeah, hey, hood educated, they haven't proved anything about Durk paying anybody to go kill something. And I'm with you on that. I understand that. I haven't seen no evidence of that neither. I haven't seen no evidence of them putting out here saying that, hey, look, Durk gave this person a bag of money to go kill Quando Rondo, but they end up killing Lil Pop. There's nothing out there like that, right? But we gotta understand something. Durk is not charged with murder for hire. Durk is charged with conspiracy. See that? Conspiracy to commit murder for hire. And what that means is this right here. Durk wasn't there to commit the murder, but he participated and they completed the murder. So that what gives him the conspiracy. Look, conspiracy is so cold-blooded. Even if they didn't even complete the murder, they still could have hit him with conspiracy to commit murder. You see what I'm saying? So now look, being that he was charged with conspiracy, the reason why I say that, this new evidence is good and bad is because of this right here. Here's the bad part. Being that Lil Durk was charged with conspiracy, and we got protective witness number 1, who was a part of the circle, saying that Didi laid back to collect the money, that go to conspiracy. They are saying that Didi laid back to collect the money. So we must ask ourselves, who was in California when the murders went down? Was Durk there in California when the murders went down? According to the reports, according to all the documentation and the evidence that they got out there, yes, Durk was in California when the murders went down. Durk took a flight with one of the other co-conspirators to be in California when the murder went down. So now with protective witness number 1 saying that, hey, Didi laid back to go get the money, we only can assume who he got the money from, because that evidence ain't been put out there yet. You see what I'm saying? But being that somebody that's in the inner workings, protective witness number 1 saying that that's what happened, then all the prosecution got to do is say, hey, look, check this out. When these guys left, did Didi leave with him? No, he didn't leave with him. You see? When did Didi's flight left? Oh, it left a day later, or it left a couple of hours later. You see, all this is called circumstantial evidence. All this is called corroborating evidence. You see what I'm saying? And being that they are saying that now this guy is saying that Didi is the one that did the payment. That's the conspiracy. You see, that's the conspiracy. Look, they already got Lil Durk OTF credit cards paying for these guys to take flight from Chicago to California to commit the murder. That's the conspiracy. You see what I'm saying? Like that. Look, I understand, y'all. I'm talking about like when you hear stuff like this, as far as like, you know, the witness is, you know, flip-flopping and saying this, that, and the other. Yeah, okay, cool. That's good, right? But at the same time, if he's saying that Didi paid for it, that go to conspiracy. Didi paid for the murder. Durk paid for them to get over there to kill the peoples with his OTF card, even though he didn't do it, but his business did it. And then protector witness number one is putting Durk in the whole thing. You see, that's how conspiracy works. And if you don't believe me, check it out. 1. An agreement. 2 or more persons must agree to commit murder. 2. Specific intent. The co-conspirators must have the specific intent that a murder be committed. Pecuniary value. The agreement must be made for the receipt of or a promise or agreement to pay anything of pecuniary, financial, or other value. Interstate commerce element. A co-conspirator must travel in or cause another person, including the intended victim, to travel in or use any facility of interstate or foreign commerce, e.g. mail, phone calls, internet communications, or interstate travel to further the agreement. 5. Overt act. Generally requires for general conspiracy statute. While the primary federal murder for hire statute itself covers the act of conspiring to meet the other elements, general federal conspiracy laws requires at least one conspirator to commit one overt act in furtherance of the agreement. We got to ask ourselves, what was the agreement? There had to be some type of agreement. For all these guys to jump on a plane from Chicago to California, gather and congregate and buy gloves and masks and stuff like that, get guns and everything like that, and then kill somebody, and then get on the plane and go back to Chicago. But another cold thing that a lot of us is kind of like, you know, disregarding is Durk is charged with a firearm. Durk is charged with a fully automatic weapon. Where did that come from? Who had a fully who knows that Durk provided them a fully automatic weapon? Somebody in the inner workings that is with them, that is a co-conspirator, know and is telling everything. That is why Durk is charged with a fully automatic weapon. What is the specific intent to kill? The simple fact that they got on a plane from Chicago to California and committed a murder in broad daylight, there you go. That's right. That right there, I'm talking about that element right there is proven. You see, I mean, I'm talking about that's clear as day. They got the cars that they rented. Come on. You see, it wasn't like they was in in Chicago where they go get a stolen car, then they burn the car. No, these guys rented cars. You see, rented cars. And these same cars that was rented, the police got these cars, they followed these cars through the cameras. You can't do nothing no more. Every time they went across a red light, a highway, the camera was on them. Blink, 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 clicking them every time. All the way to the murder and when the murder was done. And what they do with them rented cars, they took them back to the place that they rent them from. Come on. The pecuniary value. Now look, one thing we got to understand about pecuniary is this right here. It don't just mean cash. You see, Durk could have told them boys, like they say in the police reports, they are saying that Durk told them he was gonna get them record deals and all type of stuff. That right there can be looked at as payment. But again, it's not just about Durk, because Durk got the conspiracy. You see? And by this other boy, the protector witness number one, who was a part of their circle, saying that, hey, Didi the one that paid us. Yeah. Durk is the one that got us out there. Yeah. It's all coming together. You see? Conspiracy to commit murder for hire. Now, the overt act, that right there is easy. Them boys was in Chicago and they got on the plane, flew to San Diego, then went to Los Angeles, and then they end up killing Lil Pop. That right there is easy work. I mean, they can't say that they did not leave Chicago. You see what I'm saying? They cannot say that, hey, man, look, no, I was at my grandmama's house, man. I was at my baby mama's house. They can't say none of that. Why? Because they had to use their IDs to get on the plane. You see what I'm saying? So they cannot say that, hey, we wasn't in LA. We from Chicago, brother. We wasn't in LA, man. We was over there in the hood chilling, shooting dice, eating lamb chops. No, they can't say that because they got them on camera. They got them using their IDs to get on the planes to fly from Chicago to California. And then after the murder, they used their IDs and the cameras and everything in the airport, got them leaving California, going back to Chicago. You see? So there's no alibi. You know, nobody got an alibi. Nobody can say, hey man, look, check this out. I know y'all done charged me with this murder and everything, but look, I got some evidence to prove that I didn't do it and I wasn't in California. Look, I need you to go to my house or my grandmama's house. She got a Ring camera. At the time that murder was going down, I was at the house. You see, hey man, I was at church. I got a job. I work a janitor job in Chicago. I was at work. You see what I'm saying? Nobody can take themselves away from California. You see what I'm saying? So with them traveling from Chicago to California, that right there that's easy work. You know, they got that element. That right there is nothing. But the simple fact of this right here, y'all, Durk is charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire. And being that it's a conspiracy, is you know, they wrapping it up. They proving and showing that, hey, look, check this out. All these elements, everything is coming together, proving that he had something to do with this. Now, a lot of people might say just because, you know, the protector witness said, hey, you know what, I just did it under duress and it wasn't no bounty and stuff like that. Yeah, of course, his lawyers can use that, and that's good for him. Because if they can convince a jury that, hey, don't trust this guy right here is a liar, then that will work in Durk's favor. But they got a lot of other evidence that they got to cut through. And that is them coming from Chicago, going to California. For what? What was y'all in California doing? How can y'all explain it? Y'all ain't go shopping. Y'all ain't do nothing. Y'all ain't go to the clubs. Y'all ain't go see the ocean. Y'all ain't do nothing. Y'all just went to California, got in a hotel, jumped in some rental cars. A murder happened. These rental cars are on videotape. We see the rental cars. Y'all take the rental cars back. Get on the plane. Go back to... It just don't look right. I mean, look. It don't look right. I just got to be 100 with y'all. It just don't look right. Now, allow me to say this before I depart. Durk is innocent until proven guilty. Or like I would like to say, no, Durk is guilty until proven innocent. Because if he was innocent, he shouldn't be locked up. He shouldn't have a bail or none of that type of stuff. But at the same time, every now and then we're getting like little drips of this case. Like every now and then stuff is coming out slowly but surely. And a lot of the times, you know, people, us on the outside looking in that really don't understand the law and don't understand the definition of some of these words or the elements of crimes and stuff like that. We just look at it at face value and we say, hey, look, this is what this means, and it don't mean that. So from now on, from this day on, look at the elements of a crime. And that right there tell you a lot about what's going on and how Durk got charged and how the other guys got charged and all that old type of stuff. And like I say, for you brothers that are in the streets, right? For you brothers who are still out there, selling dope, robbing, stealing, killing, home invading, or whatever you doing. This is what I want y'all to go do. I want you to go to the law library. And your crime of choice, whatever you doing, whether you selling dope, whether you robbing, you kidnapping, or you carjacking, home invading, scamming, whatever you doing, I want you to go to the law library. And I want you to look up the crime that you are doing. I want you to look it up. And I want you to look at the elements of that crime. But most importantly, I want you to look at the penalty for the crime. If the penalty says mandatory prison, then that means if you get caught, you're going to jail. If it says 0 to 30 years, then you can get 0 to 30 years. You see what I'm saying? If it says mandatory minimum 10 to 20, right? Meaning that you gotta go to jail. You gotta do 10 or 20 years. Or if it says life, whatever the penalty phase is, I want you to ask yourself, can you do the time? Yeah. I want you to ask yourself. If it says 0 to 40 years, or if it says mandatory 20 to 40 years, I want you to ask yourself, damn, can I do 40 years? Can I do 20 years? Can I even do 5? If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. It's just that simple. Because you got to understand something. One day you going to get caught. One day you going to get caught. You probably been getting away with it here and there, and you've been getting real close to almost getting caught and stuff like that. But if you continue to do crime constantly, one day you are going to get caught. And when you get caught, you got to look at that penalty phase. Can I do this time? You see? But what I'm trying to tell you is this right here. If you can go to the law library, if you can look up the law, if you can look up the law on Google and look at the penalty phase, and you know you can't do the time, stop doing that crime. Stop doing crime, period. But if you know you can't do the time, then that right there should give you some type of awareness like, hey man, I'm tripping. And let me explain to y'all why I say that. Because look, I remember I got knocked for a crime one time, and I did not know you can get that much time for it. I did not. Them people were talking about 40 years. I say, damn, for that? Yeah, 40 years. And the only reason why I didn't get 40 years is because they couldn't aggravate my sentence. The crimes that I had did before that was damn near 15 years old. You see? But if they would have been in the 5-year range, yeah, they'd have knocked my head loose. They'd have knocked my head loose. And that right there taught me, as a criminal, that taught me, damn, I need to start looking at the crimes that I'm doing and seeing if I can deal with the time. Look, it was a boy in there, they caught that boy with an ounce of crack cocaine. An ounce. Now, an ounce of crack cocaine is a first-degree felony. I'm talking about first-degree possession, sales. That joint right there carry up to 25 years. For an ounce of crack, 25? Come on. Nah, It's serious. It's real serious. So you got to understand what you up against. Because they're not going to play with you. Once you get in that courtroom, they ain't finna play with you. They ain't finna give you no type of leniency or none of that type of stuff. And nah, you's a criminal now. And we need you for that slave labor. So the law said we can give you this much time, then we gonna give it to you. Period. And I guarantee you, if everything is coming out to be true about, Lil Durk and all, I guarantee you he never thought in his wildest dreams that, damn, I'm being charged with murder for hire. I'm looking at life in the penitentiary. I didn't even kill nobody. Imagine that. Sitting in a federal jail, looking at life in the penitentiary, and you ain't even pulled the trigger. You ain't even shoot at the person. You laying back with your feet up, kicking it. And now they telling you, just because you corroborated, just because you conspired with the guys that did the murder, you looking at life just like them. It's a cold-blooded demonstration. See, that's something for us to think about, especially criminals. Because a lot of criminals think in their mind, hey, look, I'm going to have all these little soldiers commit all the crimes. I'm going to pay them to commit all the crimes. I'm going to pay them to put in all the work. I'm going to pay them to sell my drugs. I'm going to pay them to do the robberies. I'm going to pay them to do the killing. My hands is clean. I ain't did nothing. Shit. Alright. Okay. Learn about conspiracy. Yeah. Because in that conspiracy demonstration, you ain't got to do nothing. All you got to do is participate. That's it. All you got to do is agree. That's it. And once they can prove that you participated in agreement with something being illegal to happen, that's your ass. They ain't gonna play with you. So get your mind right. Quit thinking that you can have everybody else do your dirty work and ain't nothing gonna happen to you. Because it will. This is Hood Educated, not Lame Related. Peace and love, and y'all take care of yourself out there. If I said anything that caused you to think, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And if you're feeling generous, please make a small donation to the channel. Peace and love.